This video is for showing the approval process for the add-on Answer Router for Sheets. Answer Router, authorization required. Client ID. Choose an account. Answer Router wants to access your Google account. These are the different permissions. View and manage Google Drives and folders that you have opened or created with this app. So, Answer Router can only view files or folders that you have chosen with the Google File Picker or the Google Folder Picker. If you haven't chosen the file or the folder with a Google File Picker or Folder Picker, Answer Router cannot access those files. The next permission is to see, edit, create, and delete your spreadsheets in Google Drive. This permission is needed because Answer Router can set values in spreadsheets. Answer Router does not delete any spreadsheets. The next permission is view and edit events on all your calendars. The reason this permission is needed is so that the user interface can show your calendars in a drop-down list. You need to be able to choose a calendar if you use that feature. The reason why the add-on needs to be able to edit events on your calendars is because Answer Router can add a new calendar event to the calendar of your choice. View your calendars. It needs to be able to view your calendars to create a drop-down list of calendars. Send email on your behalf. Answer Router can send an email. It cannot edit an email. It cannot delete an email. It cannot read your email. View and manage your forms in Google Drive. So Answer Router is triggered when a form is submitted, and the form is linked to a sheet tab in your spreadsheet. The add-on needs to be able to get information out of the form in order to process the data. Connect to an external service. Answer Router uses this if it needs to send out an error to My Error log. It's also needed in order to make a payment. The payment system requires the add-on to be able to connect to an external service. Allow this application to run when you are not present. The add-on runs when someone fills out your Google form. When someone fills out your Google form and submits the form, you are not present. That's all that means. The next permission is display and run third-party web content in prompts and sidebars. All that means is the add-on has a sidebar. It has dialog boxes, and those and the sidebar and dialog boxes are needed so that you can set and save your settings. If you agree to these permissions, if you want to authorize these permissions, click Allow. To turn the add-on on, click this button. You can close this prompt first. Clicking the button installs an on-form submit trigger. It's currently installing. This video covers the following topics. Which direction does user data flow in? How does this add-on access data? How does this add-on use sensitive scopes? In other words, permissions. How to create and automate workflows. Which direction user data flows in. The data that this add-on processes originates in your Google form and flows to any or all of the following: your calendars, spreadsheets, PDF files, and can be merged into an email and sent to the email recipient of your choice. The direction that the add-on causes your data to flow in is from your Google form in your account to other files in your account, except in the case of emails being sent to the email recipients of your choice. How does this add-on access data? The add-on uses both Google APIs and apps script services to access data. The Google APIs and app script services are implemented using the Google programming language named apps script. All the code for the add-on is written in apps script. This add-on uses two Google APIs. The Google Drive API, which is for saving your settings in text files. It can create and read text files. Also, response IDs are saved to a text file for determining whether a form submission is an edit or not. PDF templates. The add-on can save PDF and email body templates into text files. The next Google API is the Google Calendar API. It creates and edits calendar events. This add-on uses the following built-in app script services: Gmail app to send emails, Spreadsheet app to set values in Google Sheets, Script app to create the on-form submit trigger that runs when the Google form is submitted, HTML service to create a sidebar and dialog boxes for the user interface, URL fetch app to make external requests for error logging, error messages, and to send the welcome email, form app to access the data in the Google form and get form questions and question IDs, and also to get responses, properties service to store and retrieve user settings. The Google APIs are used through the app script Advanced Drive service and Calendar service, and therefore don't require user input to handle the OAuth flow. The only setup required by the user to implement the APIs is to accept the permissions in the OAuth authorization dialog box. The built-in app script services also do not require anything from the user except authorization acceptance. This add-on can perform task automation. How to create and automate workflows. The way that you use this add-on is by turning the add-on on, which creates an on-form submit trigger, turning on individual features, entering and saving settings for individual features, allowing people to fill out and submit your Google form. After you have turned the add-on on, features, and saved your settings, the add-on runs when the Google form is submitted. Turn the add-on on. Open the sidebar. you will see the paid status dialog box. You will be given an automatic trial of 30 days. This tip tells you to turn the button on. Close the tip. Click the toggle button to turn it green. This creates the On Form Submit trigger. This is for the scope permission that you approved to run the add-on when you are not present. Configure the features that you want to use. From the Add-ons menu, click Setup Instructions. Read through the setup instructions. The setup that you need to do is to link a Google form to the Sheet tab. Click the Tools menu. Click Create Form. A new form was created. You will see a new menu item for the form. This wasn't here before. There's a new tab in the spreadsheet, Form Responses, and the number. The settings for the add-on are specific to specific sheet tabs. Configure the features that you want to use. For example, if you want to send an email when the form is submitted, click Email Settings. The settings are specific to different sheet tabs. The active sheet tab is Form Responses 4. Show Settings. Turn the feature on. Enter an email address to send the email to. If you want to send an email conditionally, you can send an email or not, depending upon how a question is answered. For example, if a question contains a value, an email will be sent if the answer contains some value. There are settings for the name associated with the sending email, the reply to address, or no reply, which is only available in paid Google accounts. Enter a subject and the email body. This add-on includes a rich text editor. You can do things like bold text, underline, center. You can attach a PDF file to your email. This add-on can create 2 different PDF files. You can attach one or both PDF files. You can conditionally attach either the first or second or both PDF files, depending upon how a question was answered. Which PDF? PDF 1 or PDF 2? Enter the question, the condition. For example, the answer contains something. If the answer contained something, PDF 1 would be attached. Otherwise, PDF 1 will not be attached. Save the settings. The settings were saved. If you need help, click the Help button. This shows how to turn the email sending feature on and save your settings. When the form is submitted, it will send an email. If you want the form answers to go to one or more different spreadsheets, use the data splitter feature. Turn the feature on, choose the spreadsheet that you want the answers to go to, make choices about which answers will be saved into the sheet, and save the settings. With the settings saved and the features turned on, the answers that you choose will go into the spreadsheet of your choice. When you approved the permissions, one of the permissions gave the add-on access to your spreadsheets. The data splitter feature needs access to your spreadsheets, but you choose the spreadsheet. You can choose a spreadsheet with the Google File Picker. The Google File Picker determines which spreadsheet file the add-on has access to. The data splitter doesn't have access to just any spreadsheet. It only has access to spreadsheets that you choose or that the add-on has created. You can create a new spreadsheet. In either case, you are determining which spreadsheet the add-on has access to. This add-on can create a calendar event in a calendar of your choice. The permissions asked for the ability to view and edit calendar events. The permission to view and edit calendar events is needed to create an event on the calendar of your choice. To allow the add-on to create a calendar event, turn the feature on. Set your calendar targets. You can set a static target, which means that the calendar always gets a new event, or you can set conditions. The calendar will only get an event if the test is true. The drop-down list displays your calendars. The add-on asked for the permission to view your calendars. The add-on needs permission to view your calendars in order to create this drop-down list of calendars. In order for the add-on to create a calendar event, it needs a start date. So you will need to choose the question where the start date is coming from. I didn't define a question in the form as a date, so it's stating no data for list. This add-on can send invitation emails to guests. It can check for duplicate event times and dates. If you want the calendar feature to send an email when an event is created, you can define what is in the email in this section. When you are done, click the Save button. The settings will be saved. When this feature is on and the settings are correct, a calendar event will be created when the Google form is submitted. The next feature is PDF definition. This add-on can create 1 or 2 PDF files every time the Google form is submitted. PDF file can merge answers from the form into the PDF file. If you want a PDF file to be created, turn the feature on. Open the navigation menu. This add-on can save the PDF file to a specific folder. One of the permissions that the add-on asked for was to view and manage Google files and folders that you have opened with this app. This add-on can only access a folder that you choose or that the add-on has created. Choose the folder where the PDF file will be saved. You must use the Google folder picker. Choose a folder and click the Select button. The folder ID will be added to the settings. This add-on can only access folders that you have chosen with the folder picker or that the add-on created. This add-on will create one folder specific to the add-on named Answer Router. The PDF feature can create a PDF file or not, depending upon a test that you define. You can choose a condition. Double-click for the picker. In this condition, if an answer contains the word something, then the PDF file will be saved to the folder that you just chose from the picker. That's the conditional PDF creation. There is also static PDF creation, which we set up earlier. Your PDF file will need content. Type the PDF content here, the PDF template. You can merge answers from the form into your PDF file. I just added a merge field. It will put the answer into the PDF file. As an option, you can save the PDF template to a text file. One of the permissions that the add-on asks you for is to view and manage Google files you have opened or created. When you save the PDF definition, if you have checked this box, add-on will create a text file in an add-on folder. You can choose where to save the template by using the folder picker. If you do not choose a folder, a default folder will be created with the name of the add-on. Save the setting. You can set preferences for the add-on, and there are different utilities that you can use. There are different date format choices. And time format choices. You can get the form settings. You can opt out of receiving error emails. You can opt out of sending error information to the developer. This add-on asks for a permission to connect to an external service. The add-on needs to be able to connect to an external service in order to send error information to the developer. Support. You can send your settings to the developer. Enter a reason click the button and then confirm that you want the settings sent. This add-on can reprocess form submissions. One of the permissions that the add-on asked you for is to display and run third-party web content in prompts and sidebars. This is the sidebar. In order for the add-on to display the sidebar, you need to approve the permission to display and run third-party web content in prompts and sidebars. This add-on asks for the permission to allow the application to run when you are not present. When someone submits your Google form, you are not present. But even though you are not present, you want the add-on to run. When you allow the application to run when you are not present, an on-form submit trigger causes the add-on to run. The on-off button controls whether the on-form submit trigger has been installed or is deleted. If you turn the button off, it deletes the on-form submit trigger. Add-on state. This add-on is now off. What that did is it deleted the on-form submit trigger. If I turn this back on, it will create a new on-form submit trigger. And the on-form submit trigger is controlled with this on-off button. The add-on asks for permission to send an email on your behalf. That's what the email feature is for. The add-on can only send an email. It cannot read your emails. It cannot delete an email. I'm going to show you an example of how Answer Router works. Let's open the sidebar. Answer Router, Settings, Information. It's in trial right now. Status, in trial period. I'm going to show an example of Answer Router putting answers into this sheet tab, sheet number 1, using the data splitter. It's going to send an email with a PDF file attached, create a calendar event with a PDF file attached, and create a PDF file. You can see that the add-on state is on. The on-form submit trigger has been created. I have my email open. My drive is open to the Answer Router folder. my Google Calendar is open and the sheet that I'm using. The form is linked to this sheet, Form Responses 4. Let's open the form in live mode. I'm going to fill out this form and submit it, and then you'll see what the Answer Router add-on does. I've set up some settings and I will review them now. The data splitter sends answers to a spreadsheet. The settings are for Form Responses 4. I'm going to show the settings. This feature is on. The target spreadsheet has already been chosen, and a sheet tab has been entered. What I did was I used the file picker. I chose a file, then I entered the Sheet tab, Sheet 1. That is in reference to this sheet here. So that is the target spreadsheet. That's where the answers will be set. I've created some custom choices here. There are 4 different rows which represent a different column in the spreadsheet. And I've checked timestamp to put a timestamp in the row. And I do not want the add-on to automatically add titles. I've made email settings to send an email. It's saying that there's no linked form for the Sheet tab. That's because Sheet tab 1 is chosen and there's no form linked to Sheet tab 1. I need to click on the Sheet tab that has the form linked to it. This feature has been turned on. I don't have any static email settings. I have a conditional test. The start date question is chosen for the question. If the start date question has any answer, then it will send an email to me, and it doesn't need a value to test for. I have entered a name to associate with a sending email as add-on test. The email content is test subject. Let's add 1. And I've used the rich text editor. Let's edit this. This is used for a reservation. This is what the email will say. The email will give the email you entered, the reservation date, the choice you made in the form, and the reason you entered in the form. These are merge fields. The answers from the form will be put into the email. Merge fields are added by selecting a merge field and clicking the button. You'll see that a merge field was added. You can attach a PDF file every time an email is sent, or you can conditionally attach a PDF file to the email or not. I'm going to conditionally attach the PDF file if the start date has any answer. If the start date question has any answer, then attach PDF 1. Save the settings. The next part of this is the calendar setting. The calendar event feature for new event 1 is on. There is a static target of my calendar, so every time a form is submitted, a calendar event will be created in this calendar. The add-on can also conditionally create a calendar event or not, depending upon how a question is answered. I don't have that set up now. The event definition requires a start date, so I have chosen a start date question. There's no end date, there's no location, there's no start time, no end time, and no guest in this example. The event title will state your new, let's change this to reservation. Reservation. The calendar event title will state your new reservation, and the event description will state your reservation for, and the date has been added to our calendar. All-day event settings. If the calendar event created will be spanning multiple days, you can choose how to create a multi-day event. It can be created either as an individual all-day events, as a series, or as a single event covering multiple days. I'm not going to choose any of these. My event is only going to be one day. These optional scheduling settings can send an invitation to guests, and you can check for duplicate event times and dates. A PDF can be attached to the calendar event. You can always attach a PDF, either PDF 1 or 2 or both. In this example, I'm not using a static PDF attachment. I am going to use a conditional PDF attachment example. In this example, if the reason for request question has any answer, it will attach PDF 1. You can optionally have an email sent through the calendar feature. So you can send an email either through the calendar feature, or you can send it through the email feature, or both. I have the email feature configured, so I'm not going to use this option. Save your settings when you're done. A PDF file needs to be created in order to attach it to the email and to the calendar. So you will need to open the PDF definition dialog. This feature is turned on. I have chosen the folder answer router with this folder ID using the folder picker. I did that using this folder picker. Click the folder, click select, and it will enter the name and the folder ID. That is where the PDF file will be saved. I don't have a conditional setting, but if you want, you can have the PDF file saved or not, depending upon conditions, based on how a question was answered in the form. The PDF file needs to have content in it. Enter the PDF content here. I'm going to add a merge field. Okay, so I have added a merge field. This is what the PDF file will have in it. this text, and then the date will be merged into the PDF file. I'm not going to choose this because this PDF file, because there's not much content here. If you had a PDF file with a lot of content, you would want to save it to a text file. And I don't need to use the formatting option for the multiple choice and grid answers. Save your settings when you're done. I've configured the data splitter, the email settings, the calendar settings, and the PDF definition. Now I will fill out a form and submit it, and you'll see what happens. Option 3, the reason for the request. We're going to make a reservation. Submit the form and the add-on will run. Let's look in sheet 1, and you can see that the answers just showed up in sheet 1. Column A will always have the response ID in it. I chose to have a timestamp entered. This is static text that I chose just as an example. The email. You will see that I just received an email. The email has a PDF file attached to it. The PDF file states, this is your receipt for your reservation on the date. There will be a calendar event created on my calendar for October 29th. This is the email, and you'll see that it put a name in here of add-on test. So the email, the date, the option choice, and the reason, these answers were merged into the email and the PDF file was attached. Let's look at the calendar. A calendar event was created. It has the PDF file attached. So a calendar event was created with the PDF file attached, and it's the same PDF file that was attached to the email. So, as you can see, what just happened was the add-on sent an email, added the answers to sheet 1, created a calendar event. Both the email and the calendar had the PDF file attached, and the PDF file was created and it was put here in the answer router folder. This is the PDF file that was just created. Thank you for watching.